righty, boys and girls, welcome to Lesson 2 of the Advanced Computers Review course. We're going to do our second lesson in HTML, and the name of the lesson is The World is Getting Bigger. All right, let's get started, shall we? Now, if you recall, we did this in class earlier today, or if you're absent, welcome. Hope you're feeling better. So we're going to start coding a brand new page. If you recall, the first thing we put in is, in all caps, first of all, exclamation point, and then doc type, then a space, and then in lowercase or uppercase, HTML. Now, what comes after this can sometimes be much more involved depending on the version of HTML that you're going to be using. We're not going to get into that right now, but just suffice it to say that you do need to have some kind of doc type statement at the top of your HTML document. All right, let's keep going. Oops, HTML, and then we're going to start the head, and then if you recall, we have the title, and today we're just going to call this lesson number 2. Actually, I'm going to do leading zeros, lesson 02, because there'll probably be more than 10 lessons. Okay, then end the title, and now we're done with the title for now, so now we're going to end the head. Remember the end tags, folks, and also please remember this one. That's super important. Again, if we don't have that in there, it's going to think that the whole page after that is actually part of the title. All right, let's go. After the head, we have the body, just like human beings, unless you're standing on your head, which you shouldn't be if you're at your computer. And now we're going to review and extend our knowledge of headings. So we're going to type H1 for heading, and I'm going to just simply type heading 1. That's the text you're actually going to see on the web page, and end the H1 tag. Now, I'm going to show you 6 more of these, but instead of typing the whole thing 6 times, I'm going to simply copy this and then paste it 5 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm hitting enter at the end of each of those lines so that it starts on a new line. Now, all I'm going to do is change the numbers for each of those lines. So the second line will be H2. The third line will be H3. So this is a shortcut. If you're the kind of person that thinks this actually might be a little confusing, then okay, go ahead and type it through as you'd like. But there are going to be times when there's going to be a whole bunch of lines, and it would be much easier if you used copy and paste where there were patterns that would allow for that. So this is a nice little introduction to that way of thinking. All right, so each line has 3 numbers to change, the 2 heading tags and then the actual text in the middle. Good, so that's our heading tags. We're going to see what those look like in a second. Then let's review. We're going to do the P tag, which stands for paragraph, and I'm going to simply write this is a paragraph, and then end that tag. And just so you can see what happens when there's 2 in a row, this is another paragraph. I can't spell and talk at the same time sometimes. And end that P tag. All right. We'll look at that in a second. And now here's a new thing. This is a link. This is the code for a link. We covered this morning. It's a bit confusing. We discussed it a little bit. I'm going to type it again, and the more you see it, the more it'll start to make sense. So here we go. href, which stands for hyperlink reference, equals, and now the address for the page. Now, because we're going to a web page that is out actually on the web, we need to type the full address. So http:// and then www.houghtonz.com, howtoons.com, and then end the quotes, and then we can end this part of the tag. Now, if we just type that, we're not going to see anything on the web page. We have to create what is called a hotspot. In other words, the actual thing that you'll click on to go to the link that's being described here. So we're just going to type something simple like go to howtoons.com. And then we're all done. End that A. A stands for anchor, by the way. So now this code right here, or this text right here, is going to be what you'll see on the web page, and that's what you click on to be able to go to this link. Okay, making a little more sense? I hope so. Here we go. Now, the next thing is I'm going to show you how to put an image in. Now, I'm going to start a new paragraph. Otherwise, the image will be on the same line as the link, and I don't want that. So I'm going to start a new paragraph, and here's the code for inserting an image. IMG, which stands for image, SRC stands for source, and then where's equals? Equals, and then in quotes, the image I have is called flying squirrel. And then I'm going to .jpg. You have to include that. And then end the quotes. Now, I'm going to change the size of this image. The original image is actually quite large. It's 600 by 400. And that takes up a little too much real estate for the way I'd like it to look. So, and you can do this with any image that you put in a web page. You can actually determine its size this way. Width equals quotes 300, and then height height equals, I'm trying to do this without looking, equals 200, and then that's it. That will now put in a nice picture of a flying squirrel, 300 pixels wide and 200 pixels high. We are done with our document. We're going to end the body, and then we're going to end the last tag, HTML, which was started way up here. Good. Now we're going to File, Save As. Now make sure you go to your HTML document that's on your desktop, your folder that's on the desktop. And before we actually save the document, let's make sure it's set to all files if you're using Notepad. And we're going to type HTML lesson 02.html, and I'm going to be consistent here, although it doesn't really matter. At least on a Windows machine it doesn't. I'm going to make the HTML capital in the title, not the extension on the end. Okay, enough of my yapping. Let's save this bad boy and see what it looks like. So find that on your desktop, find your page, and open it up. And yay, I think it worked. Let's see, heading 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As you can see, they get smaller as the heading number gets higher. This is a paragraph. Here's another one. See, there's a space between each of these lines. Here's a link. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's see if it works. Oh, yes. Check out my new album, Mishmash Pit. If you like music from the 70s, you might like that. Let's go back to the page. And then here's a picture of a flying squirrel at 300 by 200. So all of this worked. All of this is very clear and simple code. You really need to master this before we can really move on and do some of the more advanced stuff. Again, we're going to get exposed to it quite a bit, so don't fret too much unless you play guitar. Ha 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 ha. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.